Now look, on this channel we cover a lot of serious topics, we cover a lot of serious crimes, but occasionally we need a palate cleanser, occasionally we need to talk about an epidemic of crime that is more silly than anything, and that of course is the cooking oil banditry that we are seeing across this country. But before we get into that, I just want to remind you that this video is sponsored, so let me toss it to the sponsor so you can hear the ad read, but be sure to come back over here so we can discuss this whole thing on the other side. Now, you guys have heard me talk about on this channel the benefits of taking collagen for the effects of aging, but what you also might not know is that a recent study actually shows that combined with exercise, taking collagen might actually help you build muscle mass. This is one of the reasons why I highly recommend the collagen powder over at Health with Justice. It has 5 different types of collagen formulated specifically to give you the absolute best results, and for this month, not only will you get the 51% off discount using my link, but you will also get a link upon purchase to some free fitness coaching. On top of that, a single purchase will grant you access to a little booklet, it's digital though, that will tell you the 14 best foods for amazing skin. That's healthwithjustice.com. Get your powder, get your discount, and get all these other amenities. That's healthwithjustice.com.
The cliche, one man's trash is another man's treasure, and in this case, thieves are stealing this used cooking oil from restaurants. It was a problem about a decade ago, and now police saying it's an issue again.
So, you know you're gonna be in for a segment when all of a sudden the local news is smiling as they are delivering you a story about a surge in crime. And for those of you who are unaware about where this is going, essentially you can make cooking oil into diesel fuel, and since the price of diesel fuel right now is really high, and it was really high 10 years ago, what we're seeing is that restaurants, who by the way sell their used cooking oil to these companies, are experiencing crazy amounts of theft of their cooking oil. So that's what the local news is talking about, but you gotta see some of these thieves' maneuvers because these kind of scams get absolutely outrageous.
It's what makes our fried food taste so good. But restaurants have to find a way to dump or recycle their used cooking oil. It's often stored in drums outside at larger restaurants. Suffolk police say thieves have been taking advantage.
Now look, oftentimes on this channel, I talk about the poor Aladdin theory of criminals, that all criminals are essentially Aladdin trying to steal loaves of bread for their family, but I just want to point out that in this case, although they are stealing a food product, this food product is not being stolen to be eaten, despite the fact that they showed us french fries and told us that this is what makes your fried food taste so good. They're actually stealing it to sell it. They are trying to sell this cooking oil, and to make it lamer, they're actually trying to sell this to a recycling plant.
Countywide, we have many cases all over the county, probably over 100 cases.
On Wednesday, Suffolk police arrested this man, 23-year-old Hector Castro Espinal of Queens. He's charged with stealing used cooking oil 5 separate times from the Chick-fil-A in Huntington Station.
Why has it got to be a Latino? Why has it got to be a Latino from the city of New York going out to Long Island? I'm pretty sure Huntington County is out in Long Island. Might be upstate. I don't even remember. I'm not even going to look it up. I'm just going to leave this portion of the video in there. And stealing the cooking oil from a Chick-fil-A. Obviously, since whenever we cover a story related to any person who is a member of a group, a certain portion of the population considers that criticism of the group as a whole. Because this involves a Latino from New York City, I'm going to say all Latinos from New York City, including myself, in fact, specifically myself, are guilty of this crime, because again, that's how identity politics works in the United States of America. But I was not expecting this Latino man to be caught 5 different times stealing cooking oil from the same Chick-fil-A. Like, listen, man, pick a different target. Also, I'm pretty sure he went on Sunday, because that's when you would steal from a Chick-fil-A. That's when you'd steal their cooking oil. Not trying to give people any ideas, not trying to be pro-criminal, but since, you know, we're all in this together, all of us New York City Latinos, then therefore, you know, that's why I would do it. I'm not saying I would.
These images caught on surveillance video.
They usually use a van with some kind of barrel or something in the back of it. They'll put the oil in the back of their van and then take it to the reprocessing place.
I like how this cop is like really working hard to explain that they have some kind of barrel in the back of the truck that they fill with the cooking oil, as if we thought they loaded it directly into the flatbed of this rented U-Haul and that's how they did it. Obviously, they have some kind of container, but it feels like he's trying to explain this to the local news, like the local news reporter has never heard of a barrel or any type of container that could hold oil, even though they show us B-roll of the oil being stored in barrels on site, and that's where they're taking it from. So he's like, listen. This cooking oil, it's stored in a barrel. The barrel, like the ones that are on site. But the criminal, they sometimes bring their own barrel. Like they have a barrel that they have that's empty, and then they use some kind of method of pouring the oil from the barrel that's on site into their barrel, because, you know, it'd be really rude if they just stole the Chick-fil-A barrel and then they take that to the recycling plant. Do you want me to draw you a detailed blueprint of what an empty barrel looks like that's not filled with oil right before it gets filled with oil?
So it's easy to steal. It's worth money.
Christopher Herman, an associate professor of law and police science at John Jay School of Criminal Justice, says,
Wait, they brought in somebody from John Jay College of Criminal Justice? Of all the universities to bring somebody in, you're gonna do it from that university where only absolute dumb idiots get their degrees in criminal justice? That's ridiculous. That's absurd. I don't know if I want to listen to this guy, but you know what? We're gonna not judge a book by its cover. We're not gonna judge a professor by his university or a student by his university. You'll get that if you know a little context. And just listen to what he's saying.
Professor of law and police science at John Jay School of Criminal Justice says used cooking oil is like liquid gold.
Because it can be recycled and filtered and put into biodiesel engines. So, the cost of diesel being over $5 a gallon, a 30-gallon container of oil is worth $150.
Wait, what? $150? $150 for used cooking oil. $150 for garbage from a fast food place, and they ain't even guarding it? Listen, if I don't upload videos on YouTube.com, it's because I may have found a very successful side hustle that apparently you can do 5 times before being caught at the same location, and with New York's bail laws and weak criminal justice system, you might not face any repercussions for it. Damn, $150 a barrel? That's pretty good. Now, if only I had the sergeant to tell me what a barrel actually looks like, then I would be able to conceptualize this and maybe commit this crime on my own. Not that I would do that.
The NYPD says it's less of a problem here in the city. That's because the used cooking oil isn't stored outside, but rather in basements.
It's actually locked in a chain.
But even though it's not happening as often in the city, doesn't mean it's not a concern. In fact, John Muscovich, the owner of Sojourn Social on the Upper East Side, says he has a contract where a company pays him $50 to haul away a barrel of the grease.
Wait, $50? Listen, the professor over at John Jay College says you could get $150. Now, I know you have a contract with this company, but I'm just saying, if I showed up at your restaurant, which the local news very kind to tell me that you're definitely under profiting from this, and I said, hey, I'm gonna pretend like I steal the grease and I split the money for you, then you get 75 and I get 75, and I'm not saying anything, but they did specifically show that you were not making enough money in this process. So if you want to make a deal, come find me, leave me a comment, DM me on the Twitter.
And he says that people have posed as his company to try to trick him into giving it away.
And saying, hey, we would like to clean your grease traps if you let us take your oil. And then random companies would show up saying, oh, we're with the company to check your oil. It was like a big mafia.
I'm not gonna lie, that is exactly why I'm doing this story, because this guy said it's essentially like a mafioso kind of operation where these people show up to all these restaurants and they say, I'm with the company that transports your oil that you've already agreed to contractually. Let me take that off your hands. And this guy's dealing with them time after time after time, showing up trying to pull this scam. Again, of all the criminal activity, of all the things that criminals could be doing, I would think that this is one of the more fun aspects of criminality in comparison to what we're seeing going on in New York and across the country, because who doesn't like the idea of a cooking oil mafia being involved, not on the manufacture and distribution of olive oil, if you know what I'm talking about, Italian mobster people out there, but on the disposal of used oil.
So how much of a problem is this nationwide? Well, there's a group known as the National Renderers Association. It estimates a loss of $75 million a year from the theft of used cooking oil.
$75 million in used cooking oil? Listen. You know how you have those like influencers out there who say that if you want to become a millionaire, you need like 6 different side hustles? I'm not endorsing criminality. I would never do that on this channel, specifically because YouTube's terms of service would absolutely forbid me from doing so. But I'm just saying that there's so much money to be made out there in the world, and there's all these different innovative ways, and sometimes the way you make money is just in ways that you can't possibly think of. Sometimes, if you get a hold of a barrel, pull up to the side of a Chick-fil-A and find their completely unguarded cooking oil, you can steal it 5 times and get $150 a barrel. And I'm not saying anything, but apparently that Chick-fil-A in Huntington, totally unguarded, and the police department out there completely overwhelmed with 100 such instances of this criminality. So, you know, just think it through. Think it through before you say, you know what, there's no leg up for me in the modern economy. There's only fast food places everywhere, and I don't want to work in a fast food place. Just remember that a byproduct of fast food is used cooking oil. Listen, this story is interesting in that this is what happens when the price of diesel goes up to a certain amount. It's clever because there's not only the people who just straight up steal the oil from the different restaurants that have it unguarded outside, but there's apparently this mafioso-like organization that goes to places posing as the actual company, trying to get the oil off their hands. And I like the idea that there's this elaborate operation to get a hold of what a lot of people consider to be absolute garbage. And I don't like the idea that this is due to the fact that we're having fuel issues because of things with the Biden administration, but I just find it funny that this is an actual thing that's going on, and it's not just the city of New York, it's a nationwide epidemic, and it's just amazing to me. But hey, those are just my thoughts. I hope you enjoyed this video. Again, lighthearted but informative. That's what I want to do on this channel. But let me know what you think down in the comments below. And if you want to meet me outside of Chick-fil-A in Long Island and you got a barrel, whatever that is. If you like this video, then show me by leaving a like. Subscribe for more content. Follow me on all my social medias linked in the description. Support me via the support links. View my show in podcast form with the podcast links now on Google Podcasts. Till next time.